You know what you should do? You should follow me on Twitter at Bromo018. Link in the description. Do it now. What is going on, guys? Bromo18 here, back again today. Another video for you. This time around, big news coming by the way of FIFA 20 career mode. Finally we have some news. EA have just revealed on their social media outlets all the new features, or majority of the new features and additions that will be coming to career mode for FIFA 20, and I've got to say it has got me really excited for the upcoming release. A lot more than I expected, to be honest. You know, we all know how just negative we've been in terms of expectations in the way of EA and career mode, but you know, this has got me really excited, and perhaps they've gone above and beyond what we expected of them this year. We'll wait and see, of course, but I'm just going to quickly take you through all the new features announced, give my brief thoughts about it, etc. We'll go into more detail about them along the next month or so before the release, but like I say, really excited for these. I'll leave a link in the description as well to the sort of press release and stuff, so you can have a browse over for yourself should you want to. But first, yeah, let's have a look. So they've just literally released it a few minutes ago as of recording this, and first of all, they headline with the manager customization, completely overhauled. As you can see here, lots of new I guess avatars, but you don't have to stick with that. You can have your own outfits. You can, you know, essentially change your hair, change your, just so much layers of customization as they go through. We'll see a bit more actually in the deep dive, but impressively, I guess, and surprisingly, is they have now added the ability for the first time to be a female manager. That is groundbreaking stuff. I think there will be a lot of people in terms of the demographic of the audience players that play FIFA will be very pleased with this. It'll be interesting to see just how in which they go about this, but for sure I think that's a big step in the right direction as well, to both female and male, and not only that, they've added a lot more variation in terms of the ethnicity of the managers as well, which I think is just again, like I say, a big step in the right direction. We'll come into that shortly because I've also got pitch notes that we'll have a brief look at. So they've made a big thing about that for sure. And then from the customization, we go into decisions, consequences of your decisions and actions. This time we've got the interactive press conferences, which is another big thing. We've seen it in the journey. Wasn't introduced into career mode over the last couple of years, but we now have it. And this, what you say, will affect things like the team morale, the morale of the players. And it's not only in press conferences either. You've also got conversations with players, which is a massive milestone in career. It's something that we're yet to have. Players would always come to you, but you couldn't say anything back. This time you can. You've got your own tab for it, a set screen in sort of the format of a messaging app, and as you can see, lots of different options here, and they'll have different consequences in terms of the morale and what happens next. So this is massive. They've put a lot of emphasis on morale. As you can see here, we'll find a bigger image in the next thing. But as you can see here, most of the players on this screen have high morale, are happy, but that can all change, and that can then affect how they perform in the game, and thus potentially results of your team, etc. So it's very important to keep on top of that morale. And like I mentioned, press conferences, you'll always have pre and post match press conferences, which is another big step in the right direction. It will give you the option to talk about key moments within your career, storylines, build them and build on them as well, which is absolutely massive, something I'm really looking forward to seeing. And they're not done there either, of course. They always talk about their authenticity. Lots of leagues licensed, but not only that, they've got these nice little touches which I personally really enjoy. You know, the UI you've got for certain licensed leagues, you've got these sort of backgrounds and stuff. So you've got the Premier League one there, you've got Champions League as well, but also the layout of the menu. You know, so here we have the Ligue 1 one in France, and it changes just the layout of the menu, the colour scheme, etc., and the background, which I think is a really nice touch. That's something that I've always been a fan of, and it just helps. It's, you know, in something like PES where you see that they don't have any of the, they don't implement any of the sort of the house styles and the UI related to that league. It just makes it a bit boring and a bit dull. and it's obviously something that they've worked on this year, and it looks nice. So they've got that for a few leagues, most specifically Premier League, Bundesliga, Liga ERN, the Spanish League, La Liga, MLS, and of course the European competitions as well, Champions League and Europa League. So yeah, that's big. And perhaps the biggest addition of them all, and one that I'm most looking forward to, is dynamic player potential. Now, we'll have another video later down the line where I'll go into more depth about this. But just to briefly explain it to you, basically, dynamic potential is where you don't have a set number, which of course we've always had throughout FIFA career mode and manager mode. You've always had a set number of potential. So say like an 88 potential or whatever. This time around, potential can go down or up depending on the player's performance and levels of game time, which is so much better. And it doesn't just work like that for young players either. Also, older players, you see them regressing heavily in career mode as soon as they hit the 30 mark. But in this, if they're still performing well, not going to happen. You know, they'll remain at that sort of level, which is really good. I cannot wait to see that in action. Hopefully it's done right, of course. We have to bear in mind, take this with a pinch of salt, that you know, we haven't seen it in action yet, so always just bear that in mind. But as a feature, that could be my favourite one, because I think that is massive in terms of the function. You know, the functionality side of career mode, that is massive, and that is one step towards a really realistic game mode. Moving on, we've also got live news screenshots as well. So with this, they'll take screenshots from actually inside the games that you've played, and then add them into the news tabs, and then they'll be able to build storylines around them, which is, again, it gives you a bit more of that immersion, you know, a bit more feeling that it's building on what's actually happening, and what you're doing is actually affecting the direction of the career mode. So a lot of things, and we're going to go into the pitch notes here as well, where they go into a bit more depth about this. In particular, here you've got different options in the press conferences, so you can praise, motivate, criticise, sympathise, and just speak calmly as well. And the way in which you answer questions are going to have certain effects on players depending on their personality. So that is absolutely massive. It means you'll have to, just like managers do in real life, you've got to essentially bend the way in which you go about it depending on the player and their personality, which is what man management's all about, really, sort of dealing with the different personalities. And I think that's going to take, hopefully, it's going to take a key role in you know, the way in which you're forming your team and the results and stuff that you're having along the way. So the press conference tool is very much you know, like what it was in the journey, but from what we're getting the impressions here, you've got different options and stuff, more consequences, and different ways to go about it. So it's essentially built on that and improved on that, at least the way it comes about here. Again, we've got this these player interactions, which I think is going to be really good here. Obviously, they've got just one example of Sergio Ramos when you first come into the club. He welcomes you, and then you can give him a response back here. But there'll be a ton of stuff as well. I'm expecting stuff like players requesting transfers, complaining about not having game time. There'll be a lot of that, at least from what I expect. And that, again, will add to it, and it will give you more options, develop more storylines, give you more, you know, food for thought, pause for thought, you know. And I think that's going to be a big one. And it will tie into all of this, what they're really trying to push this year, the whole player morale system. And, you know, it's important that the morale isn't just sort of like a figure on the screen or just like a happy or sad face, you know, that it will actually have some sort of effect. It will, you know, cause more unrest in the dressing room, and then, you know, have an effect on the results, the way they're playing in game, etc. Things along those lines. That's sort of where we want to be at this stage. So hopefully, the way in which they're talking about it is that it will have that sort of effect. We don't want it to just be, again, a number on a screen. A bit like the manager rating in past previous career mode iterations. You just have that number on the screen, and it doesn't really account for much, if anything at all. So, yeah, hopefully that takes an in-depth form. We'll see how that one goes. And again, manager customization, something that they're really pushing this year. Basically what happens is you can pick from one of these avatars, but then you don't have to actually have that avatar. You can change it, and you've got a whole load of different options. You can see you can go through all the different features, mouth, eyes, ears, etc. And then you can change your outfit as well, which is big, and you don't have to keep that outfit, which again is important. You can change that at any time throughout the career mode, which is really good. Again, immersive. It's just a nice option to have, cosmetic, and I really like that. Certainly something that I'm going to be taking advantage of. And as we've mentioned already, and they're really pushing it, female managers as well. I think that's going to be a big feature. I know some people do have a problem with it, and we've had a bit of it on my YouTube channel actually, of people commenting and stuff, but I'm personally a big advocate of that. I'm a big fan of getting in both genders as managers, as playable characters and stuff. And I think it just adds to a potential target audience. More people are going to be interested in this. More people will be able to be invested in the career mode. So why not? Why not get it in? You know, I think that's a good move on their part for sure. And it's going to get some good publicity either way. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. Likewise, you've got these live news screenshots. The UI themes, which again, a big fan of. You can see them all in action here in the background, and then they've got loads of general improvements and additions. We won't go too much into this, as I do my deep dives. We'll go into more. Just as a quick overview, more negotiation environments, things like a restaurant, rooftop lounge as well, which is good. Just adds a relevant of immersion, makes it less repetitive and boring. So that's a good thing on their part. I definitely like that addition. And when you shortlist a player, you won't have to go back out and then start going into a transfer hub. You can immediately go to the place where you want to bid for him, which is again nice, good to see. I didn't like the addition of a transfer hub. This sort of, you know, eases it a little bit. Redesigned team management layout as well, easier for player comparison. Now for me personally, I don't like to use these sort of ultimate team rounded stats to compare players and judge them. I like to go in depth into each individual stat, but a lot of people will like that and will prefer that. So I've got no problem with having that option as well. You know, why not add it in and make it good for both sets of people? Disable international management job offers. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that one for sure. You know, tons of international management job offers. It would be nice if you could disable them at some point in the career. It only says at the start of a career here. I don't know if you'll be able to do it during the career mode. We'll wait and see on that one. And then one which I think is going to go under the radar, but we'll talk about more in a later video. They're sort of, you know, mending the attribute values for youth players and redistributing them. It allows for more physical growth, and something that's been a pain. It's been a bit of a struggle in recent years because physical attributes for youth players are quite hard to improve. Stamina very low, pace very low, and you can't really improve on them to a good degree. So we'll see how that one plays out. I think if done right, that could be really, really good. It's something that I want to look more into because I think it will just be more realistic. So we'll keep an eye on that one. As we talked about, better ethnicity for stuff, not only managers but also youth players as well. Significantly increased the amounts of wage budget allocation, increase the play value of defensive players. That's good. It's nice and realistic, of course, as we're seeing the inflated market at the moment. You know, I think that'll be that'll play into the hands. And then they fix a lot of issues in terms of playoffs. Also talks about fixture congestion issues, which is, you know, it's been a pain for years and years. They say they've fixed it. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I think they've said they've mended it in the past, and it hasn't really worked. So we'll have a look and see how that one goes. Also an improved algorithm they're talking about for AI teams. A lot of time we find teams have, for some reason, just rotated needlessly in important games, and they're playing like a backup keeper and stuff. Makes no sense at all. You know, they're now claiming that they've fixed it, so you should see far fewer instances in which the opponent isn't using their prime starting 11. So we'll see. Again, it's important to note, as I mentioned, until we see it in action, we can't fully guarantee and be expectant that it's going to be in there, but they say it's going to be in there, so we'll wait and see. And perhaps one of the best of the lot for me personally, readjusted the number of saves to 8. It used to be 4. For some reason they lowered it to 4. God knows why. This really got my back up, and it was something we talked about in a past video. Thankfully they've increased it back to 8 rather than 4, so it gives us much more leeway, much more options to start career modes and stuff. Much better. Thank God that only lasted a season. It was needlessly done in the first place. So yeah, they've listened to feedback there for sure, and they have acted on it. Elsewhere, competition changes, added a new format for the Spanish Super Cup. added to support, round down the points in leagues, experience playoffs, blah blah blah, and also added things like the 4th substitute in extra time to all competitions that support this new law. So it's good to see them actually implementing these sort of new rules and stuff that in the past we've seen them just leave for a while. So we'll see how that goes. It certainly adds to the realism and the gameplay point of view. So yeah, I'm really pleased. Absolutely, it's got me really excited. And now I want you guys to let me know what you think of these new additions. Has this got you excited? Really surprised about the fact that they've actually added quite a few things, if anything at all, because of course last season was just a complete write-off. We'll wait and see. But for sure, like I say, it's got me excited. And looking forward to what lies ahead. Over the next coming weeks, we're going to have a lot more videos deep diving into this, looking into new features and stuff, seeing any news that we have whatsoever. Gamescom is also coming up as well, so they'll go into more depth about things and probably showcasing them as well. So we'll look into that when that comes around. That's usually I think it's around the 23rd of August, something like that. We'll have a later look at that anyway. But I think we're going to round it off there. Like I say, you guys get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think. It's got me really looking forward to it. Are you also looking forward to it, or are you perhaps disappointed? I don't know. Let me know. You've got the comment section down below. Let me know, and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell as well, so you get notifications every time I upload a video, and then you won't miss any updates and stuff. Leave a like if you've enjoyed it, as I really appreciate it. And I know we are going to round it off there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.